Continuing on with the Audi TT, it's time to pull the head off. So in the last video, I delved deep into diagnosing this Audi TT by taking the intake manifold off. I put a borescope down the cylinder of cylinder 4 to check out why I had a misfire. We've done a compression test on all 4 cylinders. We also did an oil test on cylinder 4 and compression tested the other 3 cylinders. So to kickstart today's video, we're going to continue on, and first thing I'm going to do is actually just start the engine and just see how it runs after everything that I've done. So I'm going to assume that there's still oil in cylinder 4, but I'm going to turn it on and I'm just going to see how it runs. I assume it's probably going to smoke and it's probably going to pop and bang and just really not have fun, but let's get it started and just see. Yeah, so that's really not running too nice at the moment. I assume it's probably just burning off all of the oil that was in cylinder 4. I guess the only thing that we have to do now is take off the intake, which I'm not going to show you because I've shown you that twice now. We do need to take off the turbo at the back, and also we need to take off the cam belt, which is just over the cam, the exhaust cam there, because obviously that's connected to the intake cam from the chain. Cool, so we have the intake off again. I have just taken off the cam belt cover. I'm gonna have to take the spark plug electrical connectors out. I've just disconnected all of the stuff over here, so I've disconnected this hose, this coolant hose. We do actually have this big coolant hose here, and we have this coolant hose here, which we need to take off. So the next thing I really need to do is drain the coolant, so I can take these hoses off and coolant doesn't go absolutely everywhere.
So over the Christmas period, while it's been absolutely blisteringly cold, I've been doing a few little bits on the car just because you can't really see anything that I've been doing anyway. But basically I've been removing the turbo studs from the exhaust manifold. I've disconnected basically everything from the turbo, which allows me to be able to move the turbo freely. So this is all disconnected from the studs which go at the back of the manifold, and everything is free back here. So now all I actually have left to do is remove the timing belt, and then I can take the rocker cover off and start removing all of the head bolts to be able to remove the cylinder head. So the next thing we need to do to be able to get this timing belt off is to jack the engine up, remove the engine mount. We need to move the expansion tank bottle so I can get to the engine mount bolts, and then we can remove the engine mount. We can remove the tension from the cam belt, and then we can remove the cam belt, and then everything can come loose. We have everything off the right hand side, all disconnected, all coolant hoses, all everything. Obviously the turbo's off the back, the intake is off the front. Let's get that off, and then we can pull the cylinder head off. What I've gone ahead and done is just put the support bracket and the engine mount back in, just because you know, the support bracket is bolted to the block, so when I take the cylinder head off, I can use the engine mount to actually just support the whole engine instead of just using this thing just to hold it. I'm going to leave that under there anyway. It's always better being safe than sorry, and that's going to support the engine. So yeah, sweet. So we have everything off the cylinder head to be able to remove the cylinder head. Now we just need to take the head bolts out. So I've just checked, and it's a 55 Torx or T55, and I can actually reach into every single cylinder head bolt because it's got these little grooves in the camshaft, and I can reach into every single one of them. So the removal sequence is the opposite as tightening up, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I just forgot to mention, obviously taking out these head bolts, I'm assuming they're going to be pretty tight, so having that engine mount in is going to help stabilize the engine and obviously help me get these out. So I went to take off the head bolts with the T55 that I said, and the bolts are actually a ride bit, which I didn't actually have. I've actually gone and borrowed one of these off my friend, so he's actually kind of come to the rescue. That would have been a bad day, because I'd have rounded off, you know, some of these bolts. So it's a good job that we've got one of these. Let's get these out and pull this head off. And there we go, we finally have the cylinder head off. That was actually kind of heavy. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, this is cool to finally see inside or underneath a cylinder head. I've just got a pry bar in the exhaust manifold just to hold the turbo up, just to support that. Yeah, let's clean this block up and we'll see where we need to go from here. So it's a good job that I got the head off the other day, because now we have snow. So my friends at Cat Automotive have actually lent me a little bit of space so I can work on the cylinder head. I don't actually have too much space to be able to work on the cylinder head, so yeah, I've got a nice view out the front, and yeah, now I can pull the cylinder head apart, and obviously it's nice and clean in here and dry. So yeah, let's get to pulling this cylinder head apart, and we'll see what's up with it. If you are enjoying today's video, make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and let me know in the comment section below if I'm doing anything wrong, if you do anything any differently, or if you've done anything like this yourself. They've kindly let me borrow this cylinder head stand as well, so I can have the head on an angle, which is really awesome. So this is cylinder 4 over here, and what we've actually realized is at the back where the ports are, it's all sort of carboned up, which obviously the exhaust side shouldn't actually be carboned up at all. So I think what we might have is some sort of valve issue on the back side. So I'm gonna have to pull everything apart, take all of the cams out of the head, and then obviously pull the valves out. I've got new valve stem seals, so we can replace those, obviously with the head gasket kit that I've bought with new head gasket bolts. So yeah, let's get to pulling this apart. I definitely think I might need either some new valves for the exhaust side, or it might just be lapping. So I might need to lap the valves to make them seat properly. So the first thing I'm gonna have to do is take off this chain cover again, because obviously when we take off the head, this is actually separated here. So we separate that, and then the cams will actually come out after taking out all of these bolts down here. Right, after a long time of trying to get this cam sprocket off, finally got it off with like a puller. Just pulled the sprocket off. Time to get this bad boy off. Sweet, so we've got the cams out of the cylinder head. I've got those all down here. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip the cylinder head over. I'm going to put some fuel in the bottom of where the valves are, and then obviously just leave it for a little while and see if any of them are leaking. So let's get this flipped over and we'll put some fuel in. All right, so I've just got some fuel. Just going to stick roughly an equal amount in each of them, just until it starts leaking through the injector hole. And now we wait. Right, so it's been sitting for about half an hour now, and I think this one is visibly slightly lower than the rest of them. The rest of them kind of look all pretty much the same, and this one does look very, very slightly. If I put it just there, you can kind of see where the light meets, and it does look a little bit lower. Just got the head up on the block, and I'm starting to take out all of the rocker arms, which are just there, all of the valve springs, and also the valves and the collets. So I'm just using this tool here just to be able to get all of those out. I've just done one just because I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I kind of watched a few videos, but I've never done it before, so
I'm gonna do 1 or 2 and then I'm gonna get the rest out because I'm on a time limit right now, so I need to get these out. So last night I got all of the head stripped down, everything's out. The only thing that's still in there is the valve seats. So on cylinder 4, the 2 exhaust valves, where the seat is on the valves, they're actually like super pitted. So yeah, it doesn't look too healthy, doesn't look too nice. I don't know if it's actually focusing. There you go, maybe you can see it a bit better there. But yeah, they're super pitted, so I think what I'm going to do is try and clean those up. I might end up having to get 2 new exhaust valves just because I don't know if that's going to be able to be sorted. I'm going to try and clean them up, but obviously I'd rather just put 2 new valves in and kind of have done with the issue. So as you can see in exhaust valve 4, obviously this is just the one that's super coked up, but the valves, like actually the valve stems actually aren't sort of too bad. So I think what's happening is it's going past the valves and then it's actually just coking up the port. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to obviously clean these up and just see what the next best course of action is. So from the bottom end, all of the seats actually look okay on the valve seats in the head. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean these up. I'm going to lap every single valve seat in the head and obviously the valve, just to kind of clean them up and just make sure, because obviously I'm already this deep in, so I might as well do it all anyway. Sweet, so I've got the cylinder head on the little stand. I'm now going to lap all of the valves back into their original seats and then make sure that when I put them back into my little cardboard cutout that they go in the exact same place, because once you've lapped them, you want the valve that you've lapped in the specific valve sort of part in the cylinder head. I've also just cleaned up every single valve, so they're looking nice and fresh now, and on the bottom, so they're all looking quite nice. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, now get to lapping these. So grab the lap and paste, and I'm just going to get a very little bit and just put it around the valve and get my suction cup. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same for every single valve, so I'll be back once that's done. I forgot to actually say, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but there's a very, very slight sort of nick on this valve stem, and it's quite difficult to get in, so it won't actually go into the sort of seat very nicely. It kind of gets stuck here, like it won't go any further. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do, I might have to end up replacing this valve as well, but this very slight nick, I'm going to try and sand it down because it's only very slight, and I'm also putting some sandpaper down the valve seat, or the guide, sorry, and trying to sort of clean that out and make sure that that's all smooth. Right now I can see that there's some sort of nick in there, so I'm going to have to try and maybe blow it out with some compressed air and then try and use some sandpaper and just push it down there. So yeah, I'm going to try and do that, and we'll see how that comes out. So I've just lapped all of the intake valves. I'm actually now on to the exhaust valves, and this is one that I have just lapped. It's nearly there. Actually what I need to do is, I've been using the heavy sort of cut compound, and I actually need to then use the sort of lighter compound underneath. I need to do the lighter one on this again, but this is one that hasn't been lapped, and this is out of a cylinder that was actually fine, which this valve doesn't look too great, and it's exactly the same as every other single valve. They all pretty much look like that on the exhaust side. So yeah, I think it's going to be only do, you know, the engine good to clean these up and make these all sit nicely and prevent obviously anything that happens, or that could happen in the future. So yeah, they're going to look quite nice compared to what they were. and then I'll get on to cylinder 4. This is a valve out of cylinder 4, which actually looks better than the rest of them, but is quite a bit more pitted. So let's get the other one out. This is the other exhaust valve out of cylinder 4. And again, it's actually quite shiny, but it's very pitted. So I think this is going to be a good idea, just to get all these lapped. And yeah, let's just crack on and get these done. So all I've really got to do now, the valves have all been lapped. I need to just now clean up this surface. I need to take off every single valve stem seal. I do actually have one here because we did have one that got stuck. So that one got absolutely mashed. I've got a new set of those with the new head gasket kit that I've bought. So in the next video, we will get this head cleaned up and we will start the reassembly of the TT. That's pretty much a wrap for me today, and that's pretty much a wrap for this video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.